that each of every Filipino should be inclined to is being hospitable to others. Why? It's because it's already in our blood, and it is passed and also teach from generation to generation to become hospitable to others even though they are strangers. We Filipinos treat strangers or foreign people as family, and even provided them better accommodation and also take care of them well. So that's why many foreigners comes back in here in Philippines due to that of every Filipino being hospitable. The self-concept of a Filipino is reflect into a collectivistic perspective. We tend to emphasize values and traits, for we are people who promoted social cooperation, interpersonal cooperation, and social acceptance. Rather become an individual who value uniqueness of oneself. So Filipino pride starts during stands during they are united as one country. That's why we are freed from the hands of other countries who colonizes us. Thank you.
We Filipinos are inclined in celebrating fiestas. We always make sure that we have plenty of food during that time. Also, we have superstitious belief that we are attached with, which is passed down from our ancestors. And lastly, we are family oriented. We put our family first above anything else. The self-concept of a Filipino is we are respectful towards our elders, hardworking and resilient. Whatever work that is, we can do it, especially when it is for our family.
Hi, this is Jaya. So I'll be answering 2 questions today, and I've actually written down my answers just in case. So first question, which characteristics that the Filipino self is more inclined to? For me, Filipinos demonstrate a lot of different characteristics that made us known throughout the world. The most popular would be being hospitable to everyone we meet, or to any foreigners that we meet. But one thing that I'd like to emphasize on is our resilience. Filipinos have gone under a lot of challenges during this pandemic. Some had their houses burned down, and some even experienced typhoon calamities. And it even happened during this pandemic. And I can say that Filipinos always find the positive side of things and are always motivated to stand back up and conquer any challenges thrown at them. Next, what is the self-concept of a Filipino? So I believe Filipinos are collectivist by nature. We are proud of our national identity, and we tend to emphasize values and traits that promote interpersonal cooperation, reciprocity, and social acceptance. That's all. Thank you.
For me, the characteristics that the Filipino self more inclined to is generosity, hospitality, respectful, and also loving and caring.
I think Filipino concept of self reflects to collectivistic perspective. Then also as a Filipino tend and emphasize values and traits the promote of cooperation and also social acceptance.
Number 1, which characteristic that the Filipino self more inclined to? My answer is, for me, the characteristic that the Filipino self has is for being hospitable and hardworking. Filipinos are known for their compassion and achieve. Most people enjoy having visitors in their homes, and regardless of how small that space is, we will do our best to make them feel welcome. It most likely stems from the fact that the majority of Filipinos have experienced some form of hardship throughout their lives. Notably poverty, and we know that caring for others, even stranger, is a valuable attribute to have extend even if it's only once in a while. All Filipinos are dedicated and are working to achieve the individual goals in their works and careers and pursuing on all things they do. Number two, what is the self-concept of a Filipino? My answer is the Filipinos tend to emphasize or value and attributes that encourage interpersonal cooperation, reciprocity, and social assistance over individualistic values such as autonomy, my individuality, reflecting a collectivistic perspective. Developing a Filipino's identity entails removing flaws and changing strengths. Filipinos are empathetic to others and experience a sense of belong to them. They treat others with dignity and esteem and manage them as a peers. Filipinos are devoid of easygoing, calm to dealing with life ups and downs. Filipinos have a remarkable ability to adapt to changing circumstances and the broader environment, both physically and socially. They are creative, smart, capable of learning, and willing to improve and use whatever resources are available in order to make a delivery. When it comes to hard work, Filipinos have a limit when it comes to legitimate condition, the desire to improve one way of life and provide that necessities of a life for one's family, when combined with the right open door and motivate Filipinos to work hard. Filipinos have a strong belief in God. For religiosity enables to compare and accept a reality in terms of God, well and planned. Filipinos have a survival capability demonstrated by our ability to serve in the face of adversity and our ability to make do with very little. Filipinos have a depth and abiding love for their families, which includes not just friends, guardians, kind, but also grandparents and close relatives. That's all. Thank you.
I would like to answer this question. Which characteristic that Filipinos are more inclined to? So my answer is, the characteristic of Filipino that self more inclined to are hospitality. This is one of the most popular qualities of Filipino, respectful. This is often observed not just from younger people but also from older ones. Strong family ties and religious. Filipino value their families so much that they tend to be so intact. Hardworking. Filipino are hardworking people to the fact that they are willing to work several times to almost whole day just to feed their family. Also loving, caring, and many more. And the second question is, what is the self-concept of Filipino? The Filipino self-concept of selves reflect a collective perspective. As a Filipino tend to emphasize values and traits to promote interpersonal cooperation. reciprocity, and social acceptance rather than individualistic values such as autonomy and uniqueness. That's all, thank you.
A Filipino self-concept is more oriented on family because family comes first for me and we do everything we can to support our family's needs and wants as well as providing the love and care that they need to feel loved. Filipinos, in my opinion, are more likely to exhibit collectivist tendencies since we rely on others to make decisions and ask for permission from others if we do something nice that will help us make a better judgment or choice. And we need our parents or family to support us first and foremost, which is why I chose collectivism, which is a Filipino trait that is more inclined to.
One of the characteristics which everyone could easily identify that you are a Filipino is being hospitable. And for the question number 2, which is what is the self-concept of a Filipino, is that they dwell and really respect their culture and traditions and also their norms, which I think is the self-concept of the Filipino. Thank you.
Characteristic as a Filipino, I think it's the po and opo. Because for me, as a Filipino, po and opo is the one way to show how you respect a people. Self-concept of a Filipino, maybe for me it's Christmas. We Filipinos have this unique tradition when it comes with Christmas. Like when September comes, we Filipinos start decorating our houses. That just show how excited we are for Christmas. And even in Christmas Eve, we have this unique tradition that we can touch or eat any of the food our parents prepared until it's midnight. We all Filipinos wait for 12 midnight to eat it together as a family. And for me, that's one of a self-concept of a Filipino.
Which characteristics that the Filipino self more inclined to? Filipinos are more inclined to being respectful and hospitality, and it's known to the whole world. What is the self-concept of Filipino? The self-concept of Filipino is tend to emphasize values.
Strong family ties and religions. They are more focusing on quality and appealing to the community.
Which characteristics that the Filipino self more inclined to? First is being helpful. This characteristic can be seen especially during times of natural calamities like typhoon and earthquake. Filipinos that has the capability will tend to help those who are in need by donating food, clothes, money, or in any way that they can. Another characteristic is that a Filipino is very hardworking. This is clearly seen on students who are working a part-time job just to sustain their needs and to help their families. Even during this pandemic that we are in right now, Filipinos still try to look and find ways to earn money, like selling things and food online, and some are playing games that can earn them real money. This shows how hardworking a Filipino can be. What is the self-concept of a Filipino? For me, the self-concept of a Filipino is that we see ourselves as someone who can achieve anything as long as we fight for it. Filipinos are very determined people and does not give up easily. I also believe that Filipinos are naturally happy people. We always find happiness even in times that we are experiencing not good in our lives. When we are experiencing hard times, we still find ways to smile and not be just drowned by our problems.
So, which characteristic that Filipino self is more inclined to? So, the Filipinos are more inclined for being respectful, hospitable, kind, and resilient. And this characteristic made us known throughout the world. So what is the sub-concept of Filipino? The sub-concept of a Filipino is reflected into a collectivistic perspective, since we usually emphasize the values and traits due to the fact that we are the people who promoted interpersonal cooperation and social acceptance.
For me, the characteristics that the Filipino self-inclined to is being hospitable and family-oriented. On the other hand, the Filipino is collectivist by nature because they value social harmony. Thank you.
Which characteristic the Filipino self is more inclined to? There are variety of characteristics that the Filipino self is more inclined to, and which made us known throughout the world. And some of the characteristics are hospitable, resilient, kind, and respectful. What is the self-concept of Filipino? The self of a Filipino is reflected into a collectivistic perspective, since we give importance on social harmony, and also as a Filipino, we tend to emphasize the values and thoughts.
Filipinos are known to be in their characteristic as religious, respectful, resilient, and etc. It is reflected into a collectivistic perspective, since we usually emphasize the value and the social harmony.